If you have ever thought about starting a podcast, using the Podcorn platform is a must. Podcorn is a marketplace that connects podcasters to amazing sponsorship opportunities and really allows you as the host to maintain creative freedom and full control of your show. Now, I personally use the platform, and I know that Podcorn helps keep you protected and compensated for all of the work that you do. Make sure to click the link in my show notes to get started with Podcorn today.
Welcome to episode 41 of the Financially Free Journey podcast, and I am your host, Courtney Dyer. Well, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Financially Free Journey podcast, where I aim to dispel the seemingly complex topic of personal finances, money management, debt, savings, investing, and even retirement. And this podcast is designed to help you feel empowered by really increasing your overall knowledge so you can flex your money muscles. And hey, thanks again to everybody for tuning into the show and really showing us your support. It's been amazing. Tons of you guys have gone and subscribed, rated, and left reviews for the show, and I am so thankful for all of you guys that have done that. I really do appreciate it. And if you haven't yet, make sure that you do go subscribe, rate, and review. That 30 seconds really does give us so much support and the ability for our show to really be able to be found by other listeners and to be more discoverable. So thank you again, guys. Also, too, if you have a question about anything regarding money and you want to inspire a topic for a future episode, send me an email. It's financiallyfreejourneypodcast@gmail.com, and that will give you the opportunity for your question to be answered on a future episode. So let's go ahead and get into today's show. So I had a listener write in, and this person wrote, "My husband and I recently applied for a car loan with several different banks, but we were turned down. The banker told us that the reason why we were declined is because we have bad credit scores, and my husband actually didn't have any credit at all. I'm so confused, and I don't know what we need to do to be in a better financial situation so we can get a car loan in the future. Please help explain." So I thought that this was an interesting question because it really does touch on several different points when it comes to credit and things that are commonly confusing or misunderstood. Whether we all like it or not, understanding how credit works is critical so you can be able to obtain credit when and if you ever need it, just like in the example that I just shared with all of you. So I wanted to go over some facts about credit with all of you today and really to be able to help you out in a situation similar to the example that I just shared. So first and foremost, in order to have a credit score, you have to have or currently have had open credit accounts in the past. A large factor that is used when lenders are considering if they want to lend money to you is if you have a credit score and what your credit score is. A credit score is a list or a summary of information about your credit history or your current credit situation. So lenders can really use that to review, and they use it in their decision-making process while they're underwriting your loan application. And if you ever have had any bad credit history, this can really negatively impact your credit score. So keep that in mind. And if you have very little or no credit history, you have what lenders call a thin credit profile. And this is because there just isn't simply enough information on your file to really generate a credit score. So in this situation, you don't have a bad credit score, you just don't have one at all. So this is really reminiscent for a lot of young, new adults who are trying to establish themselves, but they can't seem to get a leg up when it comes to credit. And I really remember this situation when I had actually applied for my first credit card when I was 18, and I wasn't approved because I didn't have any previous credit. And I was so frustrated because I wanted to get the credit card to establish credit, and they wouldn't give it to me because I didn't have established credit. So really going back to the concept of having thin credit, sometimes you have to have had credit in the past, but the previous credit really had been closed or had been so long in the past that it had actually fallen off of your credit report. This is another example of when you wouldn't really have a credit score at all, even though you did have credit in the past. So just some food for thought if that's your situation. Now, there are also a lot of financial obligations that don't actually automatically report to the credit bureaus, like, for example, your utility bills or your cell phone contracts. And a little fun fact here is that you can use a free service through Experian. It's called Experian Boost, and you can get your utility and your cell phone bill to report to the credit bureaus now, so that way you have current positive reporting for you instantly on your credit reports. So a really great free service to help you create positive current credit history. So I definitely recommend you check out Experian Boost if you haven't already. So with this in mind, I would highly recommend in a situation like this to make sure that you have either an installment loan or a credit card open and it's actively reporting on your credit profile. With open credit accounts, they stay open on your report and they continue to report positively for you as long as they stay open and you're current on the obligation. Okay, let's take a quick sponsor break, but when we come back, we're going to go over a few critical facts for you to know about your credit score, so don't go anywhere.
Okay, I am so excited to share this episode's sponsor with you, WYLD Gallery. Now, WYLD is an Austin, Texas-based gallery that exclusively features spellbinding, original, one-of-a-kind Native American imagery that really explores heritage, culture, and tradition. WYLD carries a variety of art, including oil on canvas, acrylic, prints, and even posters. Several of the artists featured at the gallery have paintings in the permanent collections of museums like the Smithsonian and the American Indian Museum in Washington, D.C. and New York City. And I went on and I checked out the art and I am honestly blown away. I found a piece called The Black Sun that is to die for. It is a beautiful pop of color that would look beautiful in my home. And what I love is that WYLD carries art for every budget. And what a great gift for the holidays to give your loved ones a one-of-a-kind museum quality piece of art. The art is honestly mesmerizing, and I highly recommend that you go check out the website at www.wyld.gallery to start shopping for beautiful one-of-a-kind art today. Let's take a moment to thank this episode's sponsor, Podcorn. Now, as you all know, I am a huge advocate for pursuing your passions and creating multiple streams of income. Well, this podcast is my passion, and by generating income through the show, I'm able to continue to support the show and create more content to share with all of you. Now, Podcorn is a dedicated platform that connects podcasters to amazing podcast sponsorship opportunities like topical discussions, giveaways, interviews, or host-read ads just like this one. Now, with Podcorn, there's no middleman, which means that you get to retain complete control of your show and the brands that you choose to collaborate with. Podcorn also makes sure that you're protected and compensated for the work that you do. I have personally had the opportunity to review brands that are looking to collaborate on podcasts and handpick what brands I wanted to feature on my show based off of what I thought all of you guys might enjoy hearing. Now, having transparency, full control, and creative freedom is a value that Podcorn and I have in common, which is why I love using their platform. Click the link in my show notes to sign up with Podcorn and start browsing sponsorship opportunities today.
Okay, welcome back. So if you're not able to obtain an installment loan or a credit card due to having no or bad credit, you can also consider the option of building your credit with what's called a secured credit card or a secured loan. So let me explain this a little bit. What happens here is, let's say that you want to get a credit card with a $300 credit line. You set aside $300 of your own cash, and the credit card company uses your $300 as collateral to give you the credit line. Now, I know that this may seem counterintuitive to give $300 to the bank in order to use $300 of credit on a credit card, but hear me out. If you're setting aside that $300 to build that positive credit history so you can later on do things like buy a car, like we talked about in the example earlier, or even purchase a home in the future, because now you're building your credit history for lenders to be able to review. So sometimes the fact that you have to set aside that money really does outweigh the fact that you're not going to be able to use it while you have that credit card or that installment loan, for example. Another fact that I really want to go over that's important here for you to understand is really that you do have more than one credit score. So think about it this way. Your credit score is like your weight, and the credit agency is like using multiple different scales to weigh yourself and getting to a different weight each time you weigh yourself. Your credit score changes on a daily basis, and the main three credit bureaus have their own way of calculating your credit score, and it's really according to what type of credit you're even trying to get approved for. So really, let's take this for example. If you're trying to get a mortgage versus trying to get an auto loan, your credit score will be different for each of those applications because the risk that's associated with those loans is very different. What's important here to know is the range that your credit score will fall in. And it's really not about that exact credit score itself, but more about the range. Another misconception that is pretty common is that you have to be in debt in order to build credit. And this simply isn't true. And this is the most common way that people build credit. A financially savvy person can build credit by using a credit card for free. And what I mean is you don't charge up the credit card and then you hold, a balance on it because you went on a shopping spree and now you're really trying to dig yourself out of a hole over the next couple months or years, depending on the amount. A financially savvy person would charge their essential purchases to a credit card and then have the card automatically paid off in full at the end of each month. Now, what this does is it allows you to use a tool that is commonly viewed as bad, the credit card, and turn it into a positive tool that you're using for good. Your credit history of paying the card off in full each month will report to the credit bureaus and exponentially increase your credit score. Also, as I had just mentioned, you can use secured credit cards to do the same exact concept if you don't trust yourself to pay the card back in full every month and really get yourself into a situation where you're way in over your head. And in the example that was posed at the beginning of the episode, going back to that auto loan question, having bad credit and no credit is sometimes just as bad and putting yourself in a situation to not be able to be in control when applying for credit. And so it's critical that you plan for your future. You have to build up and maintain your positive credit history in order to be financially healthy and really prepared for whatever financial moves that you want to make in the future. I also want to point out that having a good credit score can help you with things other than getting approved for credit. So if you have a good credit score, you can get approved for things like your utility accounts without having a large deposit. You can get approved for having your cell phone contract without having to have a cosigner. That's just a couple of examples of how credit scores really come into play when you're applying for things outside of that traditional credit. It also comes into play when you're applying for things like insurance policies. And like I said at the beginning of the episode, whether we all like it or not, your credit has a large part that it plays in your financial health and decisions that you're able to make about your finances. If you have bad credit or you've been affected in several areas of your life in regards to your credit, it's just like with having that cell phone contract. You'll be affected negatively if you have no credit or if you've had bad credit. So it's really important that you understand how credit is playing a role in your larger financial picture. There are tons of popular gurus out there that will tell you not to worship the almighty credit score, but I'm here to tell you that credit is a tool that can be used for good if you understand how credit works and really how your credit score is calculated. Your goal should be to raise, improve, and maintain your credit score by having accounts open that you really know will strengthen your overall financial picture and really help you with the future of the money moves that you're wanting to make in your life. So as always, thank you guys for tuning into today's episode. It was a short one, but I know that it was such a pertinent topic and I really wanted to answer that question this week. And if you haven't already, make sure that you go and you subscribe to the show, rate, review, and make sure that you receive the notifications when we release new episodes. We're releasing 2 episodes a week now. Also, make sure that you're following us on Instagram. It's at Financially Free Journey, and we post more tips and motivation to help you on your financially free journey. Until next time. Before you go, have you checked out my online course yet? If you want to eliminate debt, build up income, and know how much money you need exactly to retire, make sure you head over to www.achieveyourmoneygoals.com to take action today.